explodes. Exactly.
It's very fast.
Oh no!
I need to show you a video of me doing stand-up badly because you showed one last time. And 3,
I tried to, but I was just so talented.
I know, yeah, you tried to.
Just like intangible red flag territory. Like he's not saying anything
Oh,
specific,
interesting.
But like
Yeah.
just as he's talking, you're like, do not be in a room alone with this man.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, we can all love each other. No.
All right, great. Okay, great.
No.
This is great. What about him is an intangible red flag? Is it a way he appears, way he talks, hand gestures?
Do you know what the word intangible means?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go have a piss. Ashley, you're in charge.
I'm in charge. Bitches.
I went down on a juicy boozy, and
Uh-oh, got a fart in this chair. Is gonna make it reverberate. Hey, wait.
John.
Hey.
oh no, everybody else,
Hey.
What's going on? I'm just waiting for music. I thought you were getting music. Oh, I thought you were just getting
how
music.
my penis gets born.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Here's a shed.
The ice cream cones came with a little metal packet that is just full of sugar. It's just full of sugar to be poured into the cones.
I got what has the Japanese not gotten a hold of, perfected, and then when everyone was like, "You did it," they went, "And now we'll begin." And you're like, "No, you fixed it. It was fixed. Do not break it." And they're like, no, we got to break this.
I still have some more questions.
Go ahead.
John Hastings is on America's Got Talent for 5 minutes, and now he's got houses in LA and London.
That's right.
Yeah.
You kept a house in London?
Yeah, I've kept a house in London.
Update: not sugar.
There's no fluid tasting enough to warrant sucking it out of him. Yeah. No, but it was. Did he do it when he was then in the band when they were the 4 Bee Gees that brief time before then his heart exploded?
Wow.
I'm not saying anything that didn't happen. That is what happened to him.
I'm a predator.
And it was going awesome. And we even started having drinks at a bar, and we each had girlfriends with us, whatever. We're having a great time until I got comfortable enough to go, hey, we share a birthday,
As someone who's been eternally single.
Go ahead.
Is it your fault? Yes. No. Sorry.
Stop tweeting after your dates, Ashley. Stop tweeting after your dates.
Oh, bad news, Paul. You're getting a Batman bed.
This is not bad news. I am so pleased.
Support them.
But you know what's more important than helping people's mental health?
Fuck you, John.
I'm just saying. Tom, you're a comedy fan.
Here's what happened. So I came up after she finished a couple times.
How did you
I'm not one's not enough.
What
you go for 2. That's how you start it out.
Smoother crunch.
And then Jesus, boom. And so so when I emerged, I went to kiss her, and she just grabbed my face and she sucked it all out of my beard.
So hurtful.
That's a literary reference. Oh no, I gotta.
Hey, he can't tie me out now. I'm the only one here. Books, pages. Right. Verb, noun, adjective. Nice. Someone get me that.
I'm very prone to bullying.
No, that you're talking about Andy Gibb.
I am talking about Andy Gibb. Pardon me.
Get your Gibbs straight if you want to come at me, bro.
Sorry.
Those nice bearded men and their Aryan friends seem like they're doing very different shows.
Marylane's got pink eye. She touched her in hole.
I tried to. It crawled away too quickly.
It's difficult with tea. Sometimes you try and tune it and you get Assam.
I'm officially declaring it. Jordan is the governor general of the stream.
God damn it, guys. I took Ritalin today. I can only focus on one thing at a time.
What is happening right now? screens. I want to have two screens.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Paul and I were walking through the park, and we walked past the tennis courts. A ball had gone over the fence. Paul went down, grabbed it, threw it over, and the young woman who was playing said, "Thank you, sir."
Oh,
ouch!
Right, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna fucking take over this fucking festival, and you're not gonna fucking stop me. Why? All these fucking robots are all around the fucking city, right?
Yeah, don't knock the spit roast till you try it.
The Canadians are coming.
Chris, John, and Irish Ashley combine to make the ultimate team, better than any wet dream. Welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream. John's the CEO and boomer. Ashley's the real leader. Chris brings the vibes and juices as our enjoyment increases. Welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream.
Hey, you're muted, man. You're fucking muted. Come on, a week off. You can't even find your unmute button. Come on. Hey everyone, welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream. Oh, he's fully stuck.
We did it. Everything's fine.
Oh, come on. We're such professionals. We're such professionals.
The sound was coming out of a completely new place. It's never come out of that place before. It was very exciting, and it absolutely threw me. I love that we both wore toques.
We both wore little hats. Do you know what's going on? It's October.
It is October. It's nice. Yeah. I've got my door open. All is well. King Geo, thank you so much for the sub. Welcome back, everybody. We're here.
I went for a walk and I put the hat on to keep my ears warm. And then when I came home, I took the hat off and I had weird hair. So I went, you know what? We're going to keep the hat on tonight.
Nice one. I wish I could do that with my beard. I don't know if you can see because I trimmed it short, but it's still doing the like mask curl thing.
It's nice though.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, that's nice. It's yeah, it's still kicking out. I look like an asshole. We're back. We've been gone for 9 days, 10 days, a while.
8 days.
All right, that was close enough. 8 days. You were in Spain. It's a UTS reunion. John's not here, but we have a special guest.
We do. Let's bring her on. I think.
Have you met her before?
I don't think we've actually met in person. No.
Awesome. Eleanor's the best. You're gonna love it. It's Eleanor Morton. She's fantastic. Everyone, welcome to the stream. Eleanor Morton. Way.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. Not bad. Washed my hair, so nice and clean for the stream. Yeah.
Was that for us?
Should I wear a hat? Should I put a hat on? Is that?
Well, you just washed your hair, so we don't want to put you out.
No, don't do that on fresh hair. It will be really frizzy tomorrow if you do that.
Yeah. We'd feel like jerks.
Yeah.
How's it going? Welcome to the stream, Eleanor.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I don't think I've seen either of you after pre-pandemic times.
No,
I don't know.
No. Well, Chris just asked. I don't think we've actually met in person, but we have communicated before. I got you to write my press release for my show.
How was that? I was like, I know I've interacted with Ashley online, but what was the specific thing? And it was that.
That's what it was.
And now I'm famous because of my copy skills. So.
And that's the only reason.
That's exactly it. The show didn't even happen because the pandemic took it out. But
so
it was...
the only thing that did actually happen was it got press released.
But the anticipation created around it was top notch. Yeah,
that's it. Exactly. Yeah. So we've been off for 8 days because Ashley went to Spain, and John is in Dubai, and I didn't want to do it alone.
Yeah.
So. We haven't seen each other. What have you been doing with your downtime, Eleanor? Are you back in the world? Are you being a person again, or?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Like, I feel like we're all getting back into stuff, and I'm kind of. I kind of liked going to bed early and not going to service stations at 2 a.m. and yeah, I'm slowly easing in, but it's still adjusting. because yeah, I mean, not that I want another lockdown, but I did get used to the evenings in. It made me
They are sort of lovely.
Yeah.
And also, Eleanor, I don't associate you with being like a party animal. Like when I think of you, I don't see it in like I don't think of you as a shut-in, but I don't think of you as like a let's fucking go.
I'm
So
I'm closer to the shut-in than the party animal. But yeah, I've got a big reputation as a heavy drug user, party animal. Oh boy.
yeah, I mean every other story in Edinburgh is about, something you smashed while on coke or shows that you've taken over on LSD. It's yeah, you're a monster.
And that's why my show is always 12 noon.
It's the only time you can guarantee you're sober. I get it.
Are you in Canada? Are you in Canada now, Chris?
Yeah.
Permanently? I mean, have you been there for like a year and I've missed the...
No, I got here right after I got my second vax. So like mid-August I flew out. And I'm in Victoria on the West Coast, and it's better. I recommend it. If you can leave, do it. Then come
leave
here.
The UK. I don't recommend trying to go back into the UK from anywhere.
No. Well, I mean, I'm trying to get the nation to leave the UK, but
yeah.
How's that going?
It's really bad. English people are very optimistic. They're all like, oh, you'll get independence, and then it'll be. And then you'll leave ours. And I'm like, I don't, no, we won't. No, we won't. But thanks for the optimism there. And where are you, Ashley?
So I'm in Glasgow. I live in Glasgow. And
Cool.
yeah, but I just got back last night from Spain. And that was my second attempt at doing that.
Is it
Monday.
a holiday work?
It was my brother lives there, so I was visiting him. I haven't seen him all year, so I had a week off. He paid for my flight. It was all rosy. It was going to be really nice. And then
you were
I
so
got
excited.
down there. I was so excited, and then I got down there, and I think I did everything that I could have done wrong.
Ouch.
My second or third day there, I got pickpocketed. It's the only time in years that I've carried a load of cash, and I got all of it just taken. And then
what was the pickpocket situation? Because I've been pickpocketed before, but I think I told you it was elaborate, because it was like I was walking home drunk. I was in Copenhagen for a festival, and these two guys walked up to us and they were like, high five. We're like, high five. And then the high fives got gradually more complicated. It was like feet and behind the back. And what happened was they were doing that magician thing of like distracting us by doing all these while they were slipping stuff out of our pockets. And the only reason they didn't get away with it is I saw a guy sliding something across my shoulder. And so instinctively, I just did that. And I caught his hand, and he had my phone and my wallet in his hand.
Whoa.
Oh my
And so
God.
what I think happened is his friend slipped it out and then slid it across my back to his buddy, who was then going to take it. And so it was like, I grabbed it. I was like, Dave, check your pockets. I was there with my buddy Dave. And as all white guys have, our token friend Dave. And he checked his pockets. They had all his shit too. And the guys didn't put up a fight. They're like, it's just jokes. Here's your stuff back. Don't worry about it. Gave us everything back and then went into the night. So was yours like a performative pickpocket, or just in a crowd, Jason Bourne slipped it out?
I think it's sort of a bit of both, really. So I went into, and I'm not one of these people that goes on holiday to go shopping, but I was out with my brother, and he was going to go back and we were making dinner, eating in that night, which we only did once.
Thank you very much for the follow, Goldrife.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. So he was going to go and start making dinner. I was just like, I'm just going to pop into the shop and have a look, and then I'll walk up to the flat in half an hour or so. And so I went into Zara in Spain is a totally different thing to Zara in the UK. It's just so much better.
They say Zara.
Yes. But it's way cheaper, and it's just really good and everything. So I just wanted to have a quick look. But I went in, and it was really busy, really, really busy in the shop. And I stopped to look at a pair of trousers. I was looking for my size to go and try them on. And I the worst part about this whole thing is that I actually felt it happen. But I felt someone at my bag, and I kind of like went to look, and I thought, oh, it seems like maybe just that woman hit against it and like just kind of, you know, got her coat or the clothes she was carrying hooked on it or something. But like I literally checked my bag then. It was closed, my purse was in it. And then within a minute, it was gone.
Wow.
And so I think that was done on purpose. I think it was like make me look situation.
Yeah.
Where they kind of pulled at the bag to see would I notice. But then, you know, you check your bag once, you think you're paranoid. You know, you're like, oh, it's grand. So I keep looking then, and I was literally like, I knew as well, because I went, my purse is not in my bag, and I looked down and it was gone.
Was it like a weight thing? Like, did you just feel it, or?
It was maybe a bit of a weight thing, but yeah, I think it must have been. But I just went, it's not there. It's not there. And I've never I'm so annoyed because literally I was going to go and buy a new purse with my brother that evening because this was the purse that the zipper bust on, which I think I mentioned before. So I needed a new purse. And it's just one of those annoying things where like bank cards are replaceable, but it's the first time in ages I've carried cash. I had nearly €300 on me. And that was just all gone. But there was also just little kind of sentimental knickknacks in it that I'm more gutted about them as well. Oh, for fuck's sake.
That
anyway,
sucks.
Have you ever been pickpocketed, Eleanor?
I think I was pickpocketed once, but it was so good that I can't tell if it happened or if I lost my phone.
Oh wow!
But I think a guy on the bus slipped his hand because I had like big pockets in my jacket, and I think he slipped his hand into and just drew it out before I could notice. But it was a really shitty phone, and I don't think he was going to get any money for that. So it was more of an inconvenience to me than anything else. Like, but and I'm super anxious. I'm always like, phone keys, what? Phone keys, what? Phone keys,
yeah,
what?
me too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like exhausting, constant vigilance. But hasn't happened
I
yet.
cannot close my apartment door behind me unless I'm holding my keys. Even if I've put them in my bag, I have to go into my bag and get them out to hold them before I can close the door.
Me and my brother came round last summer to help me move a sofa, and I accidentally locked us out of the flat. And we were like, oh, it's fine. We'll just go over the garden wall. And then we were like trying to like jimmy each other over this wall, and people kept passing, and we were like, oh shit, God. And then obviously no one reacted, and it was like, oh, we're two white people. They don't care what we're doing. They don't care if it's in our house or not. They're like, they're just having hijinks. It was so nice to be trusted, you know.
I had that when we moved into a new house when I was like 13. And on the first day of coming home from school, my brother and I lost our keys. Very first day, we were playing catch with our keys because we were 13 and 10. So we were just throwing our keys at each other. And they went into a bush, and the bush ate them. We spent 45 minutes looking in this bush for our keys, and they were gone. They were never to be seen again. And so we're like, well, we're in trouble. All right. So we went back to the place, and we're like, there's got to be a way we can break into this house and have our parents not realize that we've lost our keys. If we're inside the house, then they can't get mad at us. And we tried all the doors. That was no luck. And so, but we were right near a fence. And so we climbed up onto the fence and then jumped from the fence onto the roof to see if there were any windows up there that we could open up. And while we were up there, two people from the community were just like, are you guys okay? And we're like, oh yeah, we live here. We just lost our keys. So we're trying to break into our house. And they were like, oh, good luck. I hope you guys get in there. Have a great day.
I mean, that's all you have to do if you are trying to break into a house.
Yeah.
It's just say, oh yeah, I live here. I've lost my keys. Like,
yeah, it was awesome. Absolutely.
People will leave you alone.
And be white.
So good.
If you're white, 100%.
Yeah, and not a goth.
it could be your own house, and you can have the keys, and you can have a photo of you inside the house. But if you're not white,
100%.
no one's going to believe you.
No,
No,
one's
clearly
gonna believe you.
photoshopped. Clearly
Yeah.
photoshopped.
Yeah.
This is organized crime. This is a very organized crime that we're witnessing right now.
The Danish pickpocketing was the most Danish way of doing that crime I could ever have imagined. Like, they were still nice and they entertained you and they were laid
Mhm.
back.
Well, they were also like very
cliche.
charming and like
Yeah.
shockingly sort of forthright with it. They were very like, "Hey, what's going on?" I think they just saw two North Americans because my buddy Dave is also Canadian, and he's like, they respond to enthusiasm, and so we were amped, we were hammered, we were so high, we were having a great time. It was our first ever comedy festival. We were just like over the moon, and they took advantage of that. But then as they were handing it back, it was sort of like half laugh, half like, we understand that we deserve to be punched, but please don't punch us. We very much like it if you did not hit us.
Wow. That's a risk they're taking though.
Yeah. But they were really good. Like, I didn't feel a thing. If I hadn't seen that little mix up, I would have been out everything. And that was our second day there. We would have been absolutely fucked. And we were already broke. Like, we weren't even staying in a hotel. We couldn't afford a hotel, so we were staying in a green room, one of the venues.
Wow.
And we would take turns sleeping on the couch and the floor.
That's showbiz.
That's
so
show business,
glamorous.
exactly. The comedy lifestyle, huh? Yeah, I mean, that's one thing as well, though, I will say. I was so glad they didn't take my phone. My phone was next to my purse in my bag. They really easily could have taken that as well.
Wow.
But like all of my bank information is on I really have too much on my phone that I rely on. But also, yeah, it was just so the whole rest of my holiday, and even trying to get through all this, I had a nightmare traveling home as well. I was using Google Pay, and I have to say, it is
like the
terrifying.
Money services.
It's terrifying because that can just stop working at it's like
anytime.
On a whim. It just is like, nope.
Yeah.
So I was really I was getting into taxis and then being like, this is the only way I have to pay. You need to have a card machine. And it's just like, because even that, like, I'm getting into a taxi and I'm just like hoping for the best, because if this doesn't work, I can't even get them to drive me to an ATM to get cash out.
Oh my god.
You know, I was just
Shit.
like, I have nothing.
Yeah.
I gambled a lot. And even traveling home yesterday, like, my phone was at 7% battery when I got home. Like, it was such a risk.
We got some great stuff in the chat here that we're gonna get to. Eleanor, are you familiar with Twitch at all?
I am. I briefly dabbled last year, but it wasn't the format for me. So
Fair enough. Yeah, your sketches, by the way, are so funny. So
I was just
good.
gonna say, you've made all the other formats your bitch. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I much prefer the power of editing tools.
Yeah.
But I'm really
very
fun.
cool.
I'm really fun when I'm riffing.
It's so cool though, because like I am still attempting to understand TikTok. And especially we've set up an Untitled Twitch stream page now, and I'm trying to figure out how to put together the clips that we're taking from this show and like put everything.
Yeah, I don't do anything. I upload pre-edited stuff to TikTok. I do like the bare minimum because I still don't really know how it works. I don't I can't do like what's it even called when you like get someone else's sound and you use that I can't even do that. I just put my stuff there and I'm like,
stitching? Is that what that is?
Could be.
I don't know.
Dubbing?
Yeah, that sounds
like
amazing.
dubbing, right? Yeah.
Dubbing is a suggestion here, so yeah.
Yeah.
Cold Drive. I am Scottish. I just have a weird accent. It's a very boring story. I just kind of put it there and leave it there, and then surprisingly, it turns out TikTok is not just full of 12-year-old miming stuff. It's actually there's some fun people who are doing some fun stuff, and they like random stuff. So yeah, it was. But I wasn't expecting. I was just like, I don't know what this thing is. It's the first thing in a while that's made me feel old. First,
yeah, that's why That's why I didn't do it. I was like, nope, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
I'm not
me
that
feel-
young at heart. That's my problem.
It makes me feel old and past it and everything, but it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, 90% of this is, you know, kind of shit, but then there's so much talent on it.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people are really able to use it. And it's
there's
really,
some-
really cool.
Yeah, and it's just a run. Like, there's a girl I follow who has like a 200-pound tortoise that she feeds vegetables. That's fun.
Great.
And you know,
That's
you can put such niche stuff on there and people find it. And one of my day jobs is writing stuff for the Beano Online, which I guess.
Oh, cool.
Well,
That's
Ash
so
is
cool.
excited. Yeah, I don't know how much Chris is aware of what the Beano is. But...
I know the Beano. I used to because my family's from Ireland. So when I would go and visit them, they would give me Beano comics and Dandy and all that stuff. And I know Matt Heighton used to do stuff for Beano.
He did,
Online.
yeah. He used to make loads of videos, and then they were like, "We don't have enough money for this. Let's hire Eleanor to write instead." But yeah, I do a lot of like content for them, and so a lot of my day job is googling TikTokers. And,
That's amazing.
That's but not the fun ones, like the ones that children like. So that's
Yeah.
thing. Like,
yeah.
I have
yeah.
I have a friend that just did a master's in digital media marketing, and he said that one of his pals went on to get a job with TikTok, and their job was to go through TikTok videos and shadow ban ugly people.
Yep.
That
That's
was
a real
their
thing.
job.
Yeah. Yeah, they got busted for that a few months ago, and they had to be like, sorry. And then we won't do it anymore. We will do it.
We'll still do it. We'll find
We'll
a
let
way
just
to rig
enough
the
through that you
algorithms.
won't notice.
Yeah, it's crazy that and you know, there are depressing jobs, and then there's that. Like, that's bad.
It's a whole new way to feel bad about yourself.
But I guess, is it that much different from like a hip nightclub bouncer? Of just being like, not you.
I have
You
never
can't
gone
come
to
What
in.
shoes you're wearing?
I have never gone to any nightclubs hip enough for anyone to be refused.
Yeah, me neither.
Especially me. So
I used to work in one, and those bouncers were cold.
What
They were cold.
What were the rules? So no trainers, no. Was it just if you looked cool?
It was for rich people and very attractive poor people.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you could get in if you were uber rich. That was fine. So like Chelsea Football Club used to come through a lot. We get like oil people from like Brunei and that kind of stuff. We get a lot of Russians in, and then a lot of like young, beautiful women. And that was the mix. And it was a weird place. It was a very strange atmosphere, but they were happy. I asked the owner one time, I was like, how did you do this? Like, 'cause it wasn't a nice club. It was fine, but there was nothing like special about it. It just looked like any other nightclub. And he said, honestly, I made it really hard to get in, and I charged 4 times what everyone else is charging. And rich people just showed up.
What
you do?
That's such an easy hack.
Yeah, it just works. Like we were charging, I think it was 18 pounds. And this is a while ago. This is like 15 years ago. 18 pounds for a Bombay and tonic.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And that was when prices were even more reasonable. Like that was when, if you paid more than like £3.50 for Bombay and tonic, you were a maniac. And people just did it just to show off how much money they had. So every policy in the place was all about showing off how rich you could be. And so it was £2,000 to sit down. If you wanted a table, you had to spend a minimum of £2,000.
I want to cry.
So sitting was a status thing. And then if you ordered a bottle of like something good, like not good, but like expensive, so Grey Goose, something like that, then our waitresses, who are also beautiful young women, would come out in their little shorts and their little tops, and they would have the bottles in their hands, and there would be sparklers coming out of them so that everyone could see where the money was going.
I have a question for the North American. Is that called bottle service?
It is called bottle service, yes.
Because I don't really understand
Ooh.
what that is, and it's always mentioned in American films, and I'm always like, what is bottle service? I don't understand. It seems like
So-
people are just being brought the drinks, but that's fancy.
But it's with a show, so they know you're rich.
And it's a full bottle. So that's key. It's not some drinks. You're getting a full bottle of Grey Goose, and then you get the mixers for free. And it was not worth it. But but they didn't care. That was not money to them.
That's not what it was, yeah.
Showing off to people. And then when you got up to the real, like the highest level of it, they had theme songs. And so
With the bottle service.
Yeah. If you were a regular, what would happen is if you were a regular there and you'd earned this like VIP status, then you could pick a song. Like the ones that I remember are the Darth Vader song and the Batman song. Two really upbeat jams.
Because
fun guys.
Only rich white guys.
Peak rich white guy soundtracks there.
And so if you spent $5,000, then on one order, not the whole night, one order, the waitresses would come out, sparklers, and the DJ would have to stop whatever they were playing and play your theme song while it went from the bar to your table. And I remember one night, and this is the reason I remember the Darth Vader and Batman one, is because those two got into a war where it was like a playful, like who can spend the most money thing. And it got to the point where they had their theme songs playing so regularly that we didn't get through a single song. And so dancers were starting to complain because they couldn't enjoy their night. And our that place made so much goddamn money. Like it was the worst to work at. The owner said no one is allowed to work there full time because no one makes it more than 2 months working there more than 3 nights a week. Because the people are so toxic and so shitty that you will quit. And he's like, I don't need that turnover. So no one works more than 3 nights a week. Those are the rules.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that would only be a better story if it was Batman and Darth Vader doing that.
That'd be so funny. Yeah. He just shines his little light on the ceiling and the waiters know if he wants another order.
You know. I will tell you, it's not a secret, but something you won't be surprised to hear is when I go out, I always go out before the festival in Edinburgh and just have a drink. And I always note what the price is. And last time there was a Fringe, I went to City Cafe and had a gin and tonic for $2.50, and then like literally 4 days later, £5, and it's like that's how they get you.
Yeah.
So I felt special for.
I was reading about, I can't remember who it was, but this guy who lived in New York was thinking about moving to Miami, and he went down there and he found this neighborhood that he was like, this is amazing. Like, I love this neighborhood. And so he wanted to buy a place, or he wanted to rent a place, and it ended up being the same rent as his place in New York. And he was talking to his estate agent and he's like, why, who's paying this? And the guy went, New Yorkers. This whole neighborhood is catered to New Yorkers. Have you not noticed that there's like a deli there, and this park looks just like Beacon Park? And they basically built like a small New York neighborhood in the middle of this Miami town. Wow. And so they were like, yeah, New York people don't know what's cheap, and so we'll just charge New York prices in this fake New York. So it's that's Edinburgh, just fake London. We're all coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that it's cheap the rest of the year, but it's even less cheap in August.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
That's
actually, I lived in Glasgow when I was a student, and I would weep with the price differences between Glasgow and Edinburgh. Like, I used to take taxis in Glasgow like a rich person.
Yeah.
But like, I've been told this since I've lived in Scotland. I've always been told Edinburgh is so expensive and everything. But my rent is the same in Glasgow as it was in Edinburgh. And I honestly don't see much of a price difference in general life either.
I wonder if that's because you didn't live in student shitholes. Maybe you do.
Potentially. No, I'm not living in student shitholes. I have. I only did that for I did that for my first year at uni and didn't do it after that. But that was enough, you know. So I'm not living in student shitholes. So yeah, I think maybe it's like Because I would
Maybe
say that
when-
my flat is similar location, similar kind of style, I guess. It's still a 2-bed, it's still pretty central and everything. So I'd say it's exactly the same and the price is exactly the same.
Maybe 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 when people go to Edinburgh, they just do fancier things because they feel like it's a fancier place. We got to do fancier things.
I think there's a little bit of confirmation bias with this sort of thing, though. I think it's
no, I won't hear that. No.
I think that there's because I'm coming from Ireland, and in Ireland we don't have the same class structure as there is in the UK. Class isn't really a thing that people pay attention to in the same way. There's other ways that we judge each other, basically. A lot of them are
whether or not you're involved in the GA.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. So there's just different ways of judging people that and stuff. So coming over and living here, I'm definitely seeing this class system from an outside perspective. And yeah, I think it's one of those things that the class system is this is probably going to sound really...
You don't need to be delicate. I think it's a load of bullshit. So
well, basically, I think it's held up a little bit by confirmation bias. People from Glasgow are used to being told like, oh, Glasgow is such and such a type of place. It's there's almost this thing of like people from Glasgow think that it is a working city. Yeah, people see it as more of a working class city, that it's got
dangerous. They always like to tell me how dangerous it is.
That's why it's in all the films pretending to be American cities.
All right. Exactly. Even though I've had a lovely time every time I've been there, people have been so nice.
Yeah, it's built on a grid system. And
it is founded on a much more working class society than Edinburgh. And I do definitely that is definitely there to a big extent, but I think it's one of those things where if you're told enough that Edinburgh is more expensive than Glasgow, then you're going to go to Edinburgh, you're going to order a drink, and you're going to say that's way more expensive than it would be in this really cheap bar that I go to in Glasgow.
Because I was a student in Glasgow and a child in Edinburgh, so I guess I did child things in Edinburgh and they were nicer than student things. But no, definitely I do maintain that the taxis are cheaper though, because I have taken way more taxis in Glasgow. I don't know why. The fact that you do have to pay a tax on it, and that is the viciously cheerful Glaswegian banter, which you have to you can't be away from.
I've had a nightmare with taxis in Glasgow. I don't get on well with them at all. I just haven't found a decent app. Like every app that I've tried, I've been cancelled on.
This was
but this is like I'm getting cancelled on, and I'm struggling to get a lift home anytime I try and use a taxi. And so I'm just like, what is this? Because the one that I used in Edinburgh was amazing. City cabs, highly recommend. I will endorse city cabs to the end of
I'll
end
endorse
of time.
city cabs. They got me home. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. City cabs.
You know what? They're
official taxi service of the Untitled Twitch stream.
I don't think they're probably not the cheapest or anything, but they provide a good service.
It's also been ingrained in me since a very early age as a Scottish person with family from Aberdeen, which is the cheapest part of Scotland, that taking a taxi anywhere is the fanciest, most self-indulgent thing you could possibly do. I don't know if that's a similar thing in Ireland, but it's just like I had to brace myself the other night to tell my mum I'd taken a taxi, and my boyfriend was like, "Why were you so stressed about that?" I'm like, "Oh, is that not normal? Do people just take them in real life?"
Yeah.
I remember seeing a guy taking a taxi in central London and thinking, "Ooh,
somebody's a millionaire."
Yeah.
Mr. Monopoly is in town, I see. Yeah.
I come from
Nice.
a part of Ireland
Tiger,
where
so fast. Thank you. New command. Thank you.
well, the reason I love City Cab so much is the first time I came to Edinburgh was the Fringe 2018, and it was just after there was a stand-up who was murdered on her way home from a gig in Adelaide, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I forget her name. It's gone out of my head, but that had happened, and because of that, there was a fund set up to get female comedians home from gigs
right,
during
yeah.
Edinburgh, and the account that was with City Cabs. So I started using them. Yes, Eurydice Dixon was the name of that stand-up that was murdered, and so I got like 10 rides home out of it. It was great.
Nice.
But because I'd never been to Edinburgh before, and I was staying out halfway out towards Leith. So I got a few lifts home. But
which is not as far as comedians always complain. If everyone wants to stay in Edinburgh Castle, and they're like, I had to take a bus. Anyway.
No, it's really not fine, but I'd never been to Edinburgh before, and it was during a festival.
yeah, totally. So you didn't know where you were, yeah.
I didn't know where I was and everything, so it was really nice to get the free rides home. But I was booking them, and then every time I was booking it in, they would call me and they would say, "Are you by yourself?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And they were like, "Right, we're going to prioritize your booking. We're going to send somebody straight to you."
Amazing.
And I thought that was really fucking cool. And so I got into the taxi after that happened the first time, and I said, "That's really great that you're doing that for this account or whatever." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, the getting female comedians home from gigs thing." And he was like, I don't know what you mean. I was like, well, the woman on the phone said you prioritize my booking. He was like, oh, that's just something we do. If a woman's by herself, we prioritize her booking. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Nice. So that's why I use City Cabs.
Yeah, I remember having a moment of realization of how used to danger women are at night, or the threat of it. Where I walked Alice Fraser and Laura Davis back to their apartment after a show. So it was we'd done the late show at Assembly, and I was like, I'll walk with you. It's at my neighborhood, and I walked a ways, and they were like, where do you live? When we got there, and I was like, oh, it's a few blocks that way. And they're like, you didn't have to walk me. I was like, literally on the way here, you told me how last week a guy was murdered on your street. A guy in a store working was murdered, and you're like, we're fine. It's like, damn, you are just ready, fucking hell.
Constant vigilance. That's
Head on a swivel. You're like the cast of Anchorman.
That's how I would have phrased it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm from a part of Ireland where taxis just don't really exist. There's one guy that has a taxi, and his taxi is a van, and he's just going around, and basically it's whoever gets him gets the taxi home. There's no great service. I think there's a few more set up in the past few years, but you just had to have a designated driver, and that designated driver would have 3 drinks, but
safe drinks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from West Cork, which is close to Kerry. And Kerry basically had this whole movement where they wanted to allow drink drivers for people living in the countryside, because it's just we cannot go to the pub. Taxis don't exist. How can we go to a pub that's 3 miles away from where we live?
Yeah.
And
not be allowed to drive home?
The idea of asking people to not drink was
rude.
It was ridiculous.
It's asking a lot, Eleanor.
But that there were people, there were TDs, MPs. There were MPs that were advocating for that. That was a proper political agenda on people's campaigns.
That's so funny.
I randomly said 3 miles, Tet. You're getting into the nitty gritty. They would be very far away from pubs. It was the Healy Rays Tiger. The Healy Rays.
I don't think this is on purpose, and I'm not making an equation here, but me and my friends did do a kind of backpacking around the Balkans thing, and we had a very similar. But we were meant to go interrailing because we're middle class, but they decided to dig up all the train tracks at the time we went. So we did a lot of buses, and what we found in Albania is that they don't have like a public transport thing. They just have mini buses, and if you find one, you get in it. And then like it was only after we got home from the trip we were like, wow, we could have died at any point from people trafficking, from being kidnapped, or just from the fact that many of the surfaces of the roads were not like one of the vans had a full crack full through the windscreen. It was
wow.
But, you know, you don't think about that at the time. When we got to the Montenegrin border, we hadn't arranged a taxi, and we were like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And so this nun picked us up because she obviously thought we were stupid. And the whole time we were like, first of all, she was an insane driver. We had to like swerve a donkey. It was all like what Americans picture Albania as like. And then afterwards we were like, she might not have been a nun. She could have been like an international people smuggler, but you know, she just looked nice. Anyway, it was fine. We didn't die. So
Well, that's good.
but you
It's
can't
all
really,
grand in hindsight, but yeah.
you can't think about it at the time. Otherwise, you wouldn't do anything. You just be like,
I had that when I went to Croatia with my girlfriend years ago when I was like 19 or 20. And we showed up on this island. We had no idea where to go. We were deeply unorganized people. We were like, we'll just find a place. And so we got off the ferry and we're looking around and everyone's sort of leaving. And this old woman just looked right. She was like, those two. And she just walked right up. She's like, you need a place to stay. We were like, yep. Yeah,
That
absolutely
woman
correct. And she's like,
knows what she's doing.
you're staying at my house. And we went, okay. So we just went and we stayed with this old woman and her 40-year-old son. And I remember while we were there in the bedroom, we were just like, this is definitely how people get murdered, right? This is 100% how that happens. And it was fine. She made us a great breakfast. We left the next day. It was lovely. But it was very much like, oh, we're bad at this. We're the rabbits that see the carrot under the box with the stick, and we're like, I can probably get that carrot though. I'll probably
There's only going to be two types of people waiting for you in those places. It's going to be very kind old ladies or murderers, and sometimes they can merge, but luckily not on that occasion.
Yeah.
We stayed with a lot of random people on that trip. But because I was with my friend Hazel, who has this like attitude where she's just like, why don't we do this? And you're like, okay, Hazel's a doctor, so she probably knows what she's doing. And I just trust anything she does. And then so, you know, we'll be in a random country and she'll be like, why do we do this? And it's like, oh, okay, Hazel's saying we can do it. But then in retrospect, I'm like, that's nuts. Why? She's nuts. Anyway. She's a doctor, right?
Every time I unmute my microphone, that truck starts backing up again. That's I keep muting it. As soon as I unmute it.
I can't do that. I'm completely agoraphobic, and so I need to know where I'm going all the time, and I find it really stressful when other people make plans and I have to go along with it because I
think that's
just
sensible.
I can't. It's not even like trying to be responsible or anything. I just can't do it. I'm so afraid all the time.
Yeah, I'm mostly like that, but there's something about Hazel's like, so last August when things lifted a bit, we went to Rome for 2 days because she was like, do you want to go to Rome? And I was like, yeah, and Hazel's a doctor, so it's probably fine, right? And then we had a really good time and it was great. We were very, very careful about COVID, super careful. Get back. Hazel stayed on for a few days in Pisa with her boyfriend, and I'm like, how are you? Still COVID free? And she's like, yeah, but I got Lyme's disease.
No.
She was in the countryside and then a tick got on her, but it was kind of a funny, you know, it's like we were too busy thinking about COVID to worry about the Lyme's disease.
Wow.
It's a raid. We got raided.
Time?
Welcome, Questing Times. That's fun because I raided Questing Time earlier, so this has gone full circle. This is great.
Circle. Are any of you? Let us know if you're still here from Chris's stream.
Yeah,
you just haven't moved in like 4 hours.
I was with some of the Questing Time people yesterday. Not
They're
online,
wonderful.
in real life. Yeah.
They're
We
good
did,
people.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Eleanor. We're gonna do a quick raid video, and then I want to hear that story. Here we go.
My beard dry, it's a raid. Welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream with John and Chris and Ashley. Stick around and give us a follow. You are awesome.
And we're back.
Chris,
I wish I had seen some of that.
I was just about to say, Chris, how do you feel when we show new people this show?
I love it. I love it so much. It's so exciting.
I'm so aware of it.
It's so fun. Because I forget about it. I forget that it's gone super weird, and that it starts with the word "suck my beard dry," and then it's us like disembodied heads on weird bodies, and there's a lot going on. But
There's a lot going on.
I think it's our best foot forward. I think we look real good.
Yeah, questing time, Paul, you've got it bang on. To hell with context.
So what did you do with the questers?
Oh, last night we went to a VR event in
I saw a
Battersea.
picture of that. That's
Yeah,
right.
and we did Halloween themed VR stuff, and I've never done any of it before, and it was a lot of fun and
amazing.
Surprisingly sweaty.
I saw 2 tweets about it, and both of them called you soulless. They
Yeah.
said-
So we were playing. There was a haunted house game, and I think in my head, because the email
Here
had
we
said
go.
like,
Eleanor has no fear.
Yeah,
She has ice in her veins.
I think I was prepped for it to be like the scariest thing I'd ever seen. But the game I played was actually, it was a haunted house game, and you were meant to get through it as quickly as possible. And I think I was picturing Eldritchian horrors, but it was mostly floating furniture. So I was just quite calm and collected, I think.
Okay.
And annoyed. They were sort of crowding me. Yeah.
Like a shower curtain? Like the couches were trying to like.
Furniture would
stick
move
to
in
you?
front of you, and you had to try and get through it as quickly as possible. And there was a couple of like creepy babies and things, but
I hate a
think I
creepy baby.
yeah, I think I was in a really practical mindset that I was more. It's not about the journey. It's about getting there, which is totally not the point of it.
Oh, sorry. I love this. There was a point where Eleanor said, "Oh, is the horror the desecration of art?"
Yeah, there was some really bad. There was some paintings in it that had been creepily vandalized, and I made a little quip, and everyone enjoyed that. But it was
a good quip.
Fun. Yeah. Have you guys done VR?
No.
No, never done it.
I would love to give it a try.
It's it was good. I can see how people in dystopian films can live in VR worlds forever.
Yeah.
Yes. But also you can only move like one step in each direction, so not for long.
Is it? Are you? Because I've seen some of them where there's like a treadmill that goes in all directions.
Yeah.
And so you can like run and you can move, but you're sort of hemmed in. So like you're attached to a harness, so you'll never run anywhere, but your character can keep moving. Or were you just on the ground and you have to sort of stomp like you're in the army?
You don't even stomp. You just stand there and you push a button and that moves you. So you can kind of move around with the control things. But none of the ones I did. Me and Paul did one where we shot some zombies on the subway. That was fun. I think I did shoot Paul quite a few times by accident.
Sure.
But yeah, no, there's not a lot of, like the rooms. Yeah, we show each other. The room, the real life room limits come into view, so you know that you're going to bang into a wall and stuff. So
okay,
it's not quite at the Tron. I'm going to say the Tron levels, but I haven't actually seen Tron. Okay. So.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, you know the films with the VR in them. Yeah, it's not quite there yet.
Okay. It was fun. But at the end of San Junipero, you are uploading your soul.
Yeah, if it continues to improve.
Yeah.
Would you? Are you guys like? Would you like be freaked out by doing VR, or are you like, I'll give it a go? Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I'm not into it at all. I'm not interested. I have no curiosity about it.
I wouldn't want it in my house because then I think
Yeah.
that where madness lies.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something you try in like a science museum.
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Or like a designated place like this one, which really
Yeah.
like when like a VR place, all it really is a series of empty rooms.
Mm-hmm.
That you fill with
So-
your imagination. Wow.
Yeah, like Barney the dinosaur. 'Cause they were too cheap to build more sets.
So this comment from Kimmer is, I can't do it because it makes me want to blow chunks. There was something I heard about recently is that VR is really, really not designed well for women. That like
because of our lower center of gravity. No.
something like that. I forget why. Oh, I actually think it was in a
Is it
TV
'cause
show.
we're too scared?
No, it's like it's like I forget why, but it's some scientific thing, but that loads of women get really motion sick from it because
I did get a bit
it's-
motion sick.
yeah, that it's like designed from I don't understand the science enough to make this make sense, but it was in a TV show that I saw and they were basically it became like a feminist plot point of this TV show and they were like, we need to go and use a VR company that specializes in catering this stuff to women. And so like it is actually possible to cater VR to women, but most companies don't do it because that's the world.
Yeah, it's like how our phones are too big for our tiny hands.
Yeah.
I can't do on my phone I can't take a selfie with one hand because the phone is too big.
I can only do it when
And that's the worst thing about being a woman.
Yeah. I can only do it when I use, so I can't do it with the like actual camera button. I can only do it if you use the volume button that takes a picture as well.
Yes.
So I can only do it that way. But yeah, the whole world is rigged against us.
Well, we keep just testing things on men and then assuming it'll be fine. There's a lot of that, and then once it's done, we're just like, but it doesn't work for women. They're like, but we already spent all this money, and this bit's for nerds anyways, right?
Yeah.
VR ladies don't like nerd things. Everyone knows that.
For video games.
Yeah.
But women are 40% more likely to be injured or die in a car accident because all seatbelts and airbags are designed for men and tested
That
on
checks
men
out.
and
Yeah.
men-sized dummies and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that. Traffic lights, crossing the road, it's in line with the stride of a man's walk, like an average height man. So most women will have to like jump and skip to get across the road before the light changes.
I had a long-legged ex-boyfriend who didn't understand why I couldn't keep up with him when we were going at the same pace. It was tragic. Okay. So it's because the set doesn't fit our heads very because we have tiny.
Is that?
heads.
Are you reading the article as well? I'm trying to. I was trying to skim it. From Ted.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Taken together, the results suggest that gender differences in cyber sicknesses may be largely contingent on whether or not the VR display can be fit to the IPD of the user. Ted, what does IPD mean? With a substantially greater proportion of females unable to achieve a good fit. Can you please tell us what IPD is?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that it's not
interpupillary distance. Oh, it's how far apart your eyes are.
That's about butterflies.
Yeah.
because our eyes are different widths apart.
Yeah.
And
you got stupid close eyes, not like our normal width eyes.
Yeah. So
That's-
are ours closer or are yours closer?
Ours are closer.
Ours are
Hold on, everyone get real
We have
close to the camera and let the
we have smaller faces.
vote now.
Whose eyes are closest together?
Start a poll. All right.
Distance between the center of your eyes. Some headsets can be adjusted within a certain range. Okay. Chris's eyes are closest together.
You and your stupid wide apart eyes.
I mean, doesn't like Fern Brady has a great bit. I'm sure you've heard
that's such a
Natalie,
funny
about
bit.
yeah, about the her eyes being too wide apart.
Yeah.
It turns out I look like a hammerhead shark.
It's a great bit. I actually can't remember the rest of that bit, and I saw that show, I want to say like
You did
38
support for it,
times.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did support for it once, and then I teched it for the full
And then you
Fringe.
just went to it loads for fun. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you were teching it. Okay, cool.
I was teching it. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great show. It's on BBC for anybody that wants to watch it. It is on BBC iPlayer at the moment. So go and watch Fern Brady's show because she's the best.
Head size. I do have a tiny head, so I did feel a bit sick. There was a point where it felt a bit like I was skiing, and I felt sick. But the thing that scared me the most, more than like the jump scares and the zombies and things, was there was a bit in one of the games where I had to walk out onto a plank of wood on the edge of a skyscraper, and that felt more real than obviously any of the other stuff. And it was a really weird feeling when I jumped off.
Oh God!
And then, yeah, but then the guy said no one else had done it because they were all too scared, and I was like, okay, but the ground is there. It's not like the technology is not that good, you know.
How is it? Was there a bit of faith in the leap though? Was there like because we get weird with feelings of just like, you know what? I mean, maybe the ground will disappear. Who knows? Maybe.
No, definitely. It was definitely my brain was definitely confused enough to be like, whoa, hang on a second.
Are we sure? It's like, you know, when you are falling asleep and you jump awake. You know, you're falling asleep and then you jump awake again.
I know
that is your body going, wait, did we check our environment before going asleep? Are we safe? That's like a fucking caveman instinct.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard it was something. I heard that it was because we sort of when you go to sleep, our body basically shuts down, and so to a certain degree, there's a certain amount of like paralysis that goes on, and so sleep paralysis is that lasting further than it should.
Oh,
and so it's the thing that everyone does when they're asleep, but then you sort of wake up and you're aware and you still can't move your body. And so what I heard is what that thing is when you jolt up, that's your brain sending test signals through just to make sure that you actually are paralyzed so it can do all the work around it. And so if you're not fully asleep, then it jolts you out. And that's why it's so sort of jarring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had sleep paralysis?
No, thank God.
No. I get killer nightmares, but I've never had sleep paralysis.
You know who else gets Matt Heighton actually gets. Have you guys heard his bit about that? He gets like he will wake up screaming in the night, terrifying. But no,
Really?
I've never had any sleep paralysis.
I remember when I was very young, I used to have awful dreams. And wildly, one day I've got an older half sister. She gave me a dream catcher, and it immediately worked. And I know it's placebo.
Yeah.
Is it?
But
yeah,
it
is
like
some
the
sort of
second I
placebo.
put it up, I slept like a baby. Didn't have those nightmares
Yeah.
ever again. It really, it was wild.
Magic is real.
It's one or the other. I mean, it's either that this stick string combo with a few beads and a feather that was definitely not handmade or blessed at any point is imbued, or I was just scared of the world and it made me less afraid.
Baldy, that's terrifying. I apparently used to sleep with my arms crossed across my chest and my eyes open with pupils in the back of my head. That's so creepy.
Like a vampire.
That's so creepy. Yeah, no, I did get dream catchers when I was a kid, and I can't remember if they worked for me or not. I think they did for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, the past few years I have gotten awful nightmares.
Gotta get one.
I still get them most nights.
Is that like, do you know why, or is that just happened?
I think I do.
Are you being punished? Have you wronged the universe? Is this a karma thing?
You know a guy called Frederick Krueger?
Yeah, I do know why, and it is something I'm talking to my therapist about.
Okay. Well, we won't
No, I mean I say loads of shit on this show anyway.
Yeah, no,
but
we've heard most of it. It's all good.
we've heard a lot of it. Yeah, they're PTSD nightmares, but
yeah.
Because I started not nightmares, but I started remembering every single dream I have now once I went on my anti-anxiety medication. And it's very tiring because they're mostly boring dreams about losing my keys or missing a train, or the favorite one is I get to a gig and for some reason the promoter goes, everyone else has pulled out. Could you cover 4 hours? And I always go, I guess I'll have to for some reason. So that just makes me feel like I've never had
what a pro.
night's sleep.
Yeah. I've spoken to so many people who started doing Twitch who say they have the dream that they're still streaming when they're doing something else.
Oh, wow.
Or that people are like watching them fucking have a shower or get dressed or make food. Like people are watching them while they're doing like so many people, so many streamers have had these dreams.
I unplugged my camera now because I've forgotten to turn off my stream so many times. That it's now every time as soon as I'm off, boop, USB out because can't be trusted.
I did forget to turn off my stream once and got naked in front of the camera.
Oh no.
But I had raided and nobody saw it. I'm
good.
99% sure nobody saw it, and I got rid of the VOD. Because I realized it really quickly, so I don't think anybody ever clocked. But fuck, the dreams came after that, I think.
Mine are always like I'll be just answering emails or watching a YouTube video, and I'll just get a message from someone on Twitch being like, you're streaming, right? And I'm like, oh, cool. Oh no, now they know how boring I am.
Well, that's my paranoia is like, what if I haven't turned off my webcam for whatever reason? And then I'm like, well, logically, if anyone wants to watch me doing my shit, just having a boring day, then go for it, guys, because you got to play it out. But I got one of those tiny little camera cover things that just slides back and forward.
Ooh,
recommend.
I kind of want one of them.
Yeah, it looks profesh, but you just get it from Amazon and stick it on. I used to use blue tack, but
I used duct tape on my old computer, and then I never used it was in a pre-Zoom time. We didn't need our webcam.
We didn't need a webcam.
And so
they were also shite as well.
I went to take it off, and there was so much tape residue that camera was just dead anyway. There was there's nothing that could be done.
Yeah. Mine turns. It like turns on the stand, so I can turn it around if I want to, but I don't do that. I really should get into a habit of covering this up, though.
Yeah, I mean, if it's USB, just unplug
it. I don't change right here, so it's fine.
That's good for now. So Cold Drive says, I'm one of the few people that cannot remember their dreams. I have them, but my conscious self doesn't remember them. I don't remember the good ones. I also don't remember the bad ones when I wake up with adrenaline. I'm exactly the same. I never remember my dreams. And my wife remembers all of her dreams. And so we'll wake up and she'll be like, I dreamt about this. What did you dream about? I'll be like, we've been together for 8 years. You know the answer to that. I have no fucking clue.
You can train yourself into remembering them. Like, I don't know how you start if you don't remember them anytime, but if you remember some of them and you start writing them down as soon as you wake up, you actually will start to remember them better and in more detail.
Okay.
You can practice it.
I mean, I've heard the whole thing of like you can lucid dreaming. You can train yourself to be conscious in your dreams, but
Dave Green does that, right?
A lot of effort, really. Does it?
Yeah,
I've had that. I have had lucid dreams where I've been able to control what goes on a bit. It's really stressful. I find it really stressful.
Yeah, it's because it's never you don't get to choose what's happening.
But don't you? Isn't that the whole point? I know nothing about lucid dreaming. In my mind, it's very much sort of like, oh, I know where I am. I'm God now. Dragons. Here we go.
I don't know. Maybe you can make the entire world your own Inception type thing, or maybe I always just thought you could. It was just like, okay, I can move around and choose my own decisions. I don't know.
I don't know, because it's sort of, I've gone back and forth between trying to write down my dreams, and I think probably because I've had bad times with them. But I've had things where I can reset a dream. Like if I feel like I fucked up this storyline, I can go back and do it again. And I don't
I get choose your own adventure dream.
Yeah, sort of. Now it's not something that regularly comes up, but it has happened. And then the one recurring thing that I have is that I can breathe underwater. It's like there's just this recurring, different things happen to get me underwater, but for some reason the method of being able to breathe underwater is always the same, and I'm always quite in control of that, but it's a stressful thing as well.
Okay.
So
I don't
maybe
know
in
what that's
another
about.
life, you were a salmon.
Yeah. Very potentially.
Yeah,
or I drowned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have drowned in another life.
Yeah, so someone, Mr. Steve Mooney, he said, I have a dream where I can only move very slowly when trying to run, and I have that too. Like everything you're doing is in the water. Like you're trying to run, you're trying to. If you're trying to punch something, it's just kind of.
Yeah.
Like nothing is quite.
Yeah. One of the last dreams that I remember was running from a spider.
Woo!
And it was like a giant, like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter #2 spider. And so I'm just running through the woods. It's just me and the spider. It's nighttime. I'm running. It's running. It never gets any closer, but it never gets any farther away. So it's just there. And I'd wake up in a cold sweat. This is pre-Dreamcatcher. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, panicked, and then I'd finally get back to sleep. And when I'd get back to sleep, I'd wake up in a clearing in the same woods, and the spider was just lying down, just waiting for me.
Oh, I hate that.
And then I'd start running, and then it would start chasing me again. And it was the same. And it would happen 3 or 4 times in a night. Like I would always wake up in the same place. And it was the fact that I wasn't still running. It was just like, God, thank God you're back. Let's go. It would just.
And what emotion do you think that spider represents?
I think my innate dopeness.
The other comedy related one I have is I'm doing the set, but either the jokes aren't, I'm not saying them properly, or people keep trying to talk or interrupt or just like, and then that's, I just wake up like really annoyed.
Yeah.
It's
like
fun,
you just can't do the thing.
Yes, you can't do the thing. It feels like you're so close to doing it. But apparently during lockdown, people's dreams got more exciting because life got really boring. I don't know if that.
But also stress went up.
Yeah, we were stressed but bored.
Mm.
It was the worst of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to cough into my elbow there, but that's not. There's no point.
Yeah, you're at home. Cough freely. Cough.
It's not COVID. Not that is a concern to either of you, but.
No, I do that though, and we don't want you to have COVID, Eleanor. You're a friend of the stream now.
Yeah. But even if I had it, you couldn't catch it.
The relief on people's faces when I cough and I go, no, I smoke, and they go, oh, good. Oh, that's so.
It's another thing.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I thought you were gonna die. Oh, thank fuck, that's so good. So
I had a couple of for some reason during the past week, well, not for some reason, I was eating out a lot, but I was eating chili a couple of times. And we went to this one Mexican restaurant. They had this really hot chili sauce, and we all kind of tried it. And I was fine with it initially. And even when it got really spicy, I was okay. But then somebody was like, just put a bit of sauce on that little bit of taco that you have and fucking just eat it. Just eat that. And I did it out of nothing other than bravado. And
you were with your brother. That's when that shit comes out.
I was with my brother. It's the worst time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is Spain. I was picturing a while ago.
No, this was in Spain, and yeah, so I ate it, and then it would have been fine, but for some of it just got caught in my throat, and I was coughing. But it was so spicy, and I just had tears streaming down my face. But yeah, I couldn't stop coughing for a while because it just basically lit my throat on fire. And then yeah, I was just like, God, everyone, like, it's so filthy to cough now. You know?
Yeah.
It's just not good. It's like, you know, I always remember, and I still have no idea if this is a true thing or not, but you would always hear those things about, oh, you're not allowed to sneeze in China in public. And now it's just like, I feel like we've kind of gone that way.
Yeah, I remember thinking that their whole mask culture was OTT.
Yeah.
What a fool.
What a fool indeed. Yeah, it's so... and I feel like masks are going to be normal for a while at least.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but in London, maybe the rest of England, everyone is being very slapdash, and it is very annoying.
It's real bad. That was even at the height, people weren't wearing them. Like, because I lived near Finsbury Park, and nobody, like maybe 3 out of 100 people, no joke, wearing masks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta go. This is awful. And now I read today that a new form of Delta Plus has emerged in the UK, and it's like, I wonder why.
We're always innovating, you know. Yeah, well, it's still, you know, it's still in Scotland. You still have to wear it on public transport and other things as well. And yeah, and I always forget when I get on a train here. You know, I always forget that it's not mandatory on the train and stuff. I don't see why it's not, because it does not inconvenience anyone. But
no,
it's mandatory everywhere here, and we have you're not allowed inside anywhere without a vaccine. You have to show proof of your vaccine, or else you can't come in, and you can't ride the bus without a mask. Can't get on planes without proof of vaccine or anything like that, and you have to wear a mask the whole time. And it's great. Like, doing shows has been fantastic because
you feel safe.
Yeah, and also like a host pointed it out on Saturday, where he was like, "These vaccine passports are fucking amazing because it means anti-vax people can't get in."
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Oh, that's so nice.
They just can't physically be here. It's the best. There's no worry of them heckling or being psychos or anything. No worry of them putting us in danger. They're fucking out there. That's good.
I did,
Tiger. Go on.
I was. What? No, I just did a sketch the other week about the sort of paralleling this with the 1918 Spanish flu, and I got a couple of anti-vaxxers like in the comments on the TikTok, and it was just really weird. Like, they are the mandatedness of stuff is what they're very furious about.
Yeah.
And it's just weird to me that it's. I mean, we know it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, it was.
There's no internal logic.
It was funny what angered them and what didn't. I think. But yeah,
well, it's fun dealing with them because it's all feelings.
Yeah,
There's no base. It's just they're just believing what they choose to believe in the moment, and it's sort of wild. You never know which way it's going to go. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's like, it reminds me of dealing with like my young nieces when they were like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
you don't know what's going to set them off. It could be a balloon. It could be they might love or hate this balloon. I don't know which way it's too red. You go, I'm sorry.
I saw one TikTok actually that was a really good. He had made it loop, and I forget exactly the questions that he asked, but it was basically the questions he was asking anti-vaxxers and their responses being like, oh, you can't tell me what to do with my body, and then he follows it up with a question of so you agree that women should be allowed to get abortions? And you know, but the way he phrased it all and then made the video loop, it just shows you how these questions, like how their logic just keeps going around in this endless circle of bullshit.
Yeah.
The whole reason is just, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I don't
make
want
me
to.
do
I've
it.
decided to believe one person over another person randomly because why not?
Not randomly, because
And,
they made me feel like I was right.
because they made me feel like maybe the world is unsafe and maybe the government is bad. Which, I mean, this is all true. It's just that, you know, it's funny to me that as someone with OCD who spends all my time overthinking catastrophes, it's funny to me that people like anti-vaxxers have to think up new ways for us to be in trouble as a species, like secret pedophile rings and you know, microchips in our bloodstream, when there are so many real things that
Yeah.
are just awful.
But they'd have to deal with those. That's the.
They don't want
if
to do.
it's-
Yeah, they don't want to deal with the real ones. They don't.
Yeah,
wanna
you'd have to follow through, and then you'd become like a what's the word?
Talk radio.
Advocate or
Oh, spokesperson.
yeah, or an activist. Because
either,
then,
yeah,
if you're
you have to do
actually
something.
going to deal with a real problem, then you have to deal with it, and you have to be active in the community. And they don't want to do that. They just want to.
This is like when you put as much effort into avoiding doing something as you would have doing it, and you're like, I should have just done it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I didn't want to brush my teeth so bad that I would. And I remember one time my dad smelled my breath and he was like, "You didn't brush your teeth. I don't smell mint." So I would put as much time putting toothpaste on my finger and just rubbing it on the inside of my mouth, so that when I came out, he would be like, "All right, fair enough." And I ended up getting a ton of cavities. Like I was worse off for having faked it. But again, exact same amount of time, exact
Same amount of
work.
time, just the principle of it.
Just being a baby.
I got really there was a clip of Sarah Silverman's podcast, and she talked about flossing her teeth. She takes really good care of her teeth, but she said it was because when she used to go to the dentist as a kid, every year she'd go for her checkup, and the dentist would say, "You didn't floss your teeth. You didn't floss your teeth." And she would be like, he's just going to keep saying that. Like, it doesn't matter if I actually floss my teeth. So one year she was like, "I'm going to floss my teeth every single day this year and see if he even notices." She went back the next year and he was like, "Oh, you've been flossing your teeth." Like within a second of looking in her mouth, he went, "Oh, you've been flossing your teeth." And she was like, "Fuck, it must actually be important." And I heard that, and now I can't. I have to floss my teeth.
I'm very sad to hear that. I hate flossing. That
But
bums
she
me
followed it up with loads of like how your gums are actually linked to so much of your heart health and like your general health, that I was just like, oh, now I just have another thing to freak myself out about.
So
and
many.
because I do get kind of I would have always kind of dossed off flossing a bit, but I do take quite good care of my teeth. I've never had any fillings or fissure caps, or I've never had anything bad with my teeth. Aside from, the whole braces breaking my jaw.
Flossing in real time.
So yeah, now I just have this paranoia about losing my teeth.
It's always the thing that you never thought of before, because you always thought, I don't need to worry about that thing, and then someone's like, have you worried about that thing?
Yeah.
I got this covered. What about your flank? No.
I'm so susceptible to things that scare me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Like literally, I told you about the bloody water thing I started doing a while ago, Chris.
Is that bloody as in the British sense of water, or bloody water? Which are we?
No, the British sense.
Okay, cool, good. All right.
The stupid water thing I was doing. Well, basically, I always knew this thing about, when you are getting water from a tap, you have to put it onto the cold and leave it run a couple of seconds so that you're getting the drinking water. Well, now I've developed this thing of I'm not getting the drinking water. So my brain is just like, but it's not drinking water. You're not drinking. So I have to keep fucking refilling the glass. And I'm just in this fucking loop, and my brain is just playing tricks on me. But I forget why I started this point.
We were talking about the flossing being linked to things, and then things you didn't think you had to worry about.
Yeah, so I I knew that the whole time. I always knew that that's the drinking water, and then there's hot water from a tank. But for some reason, it was when I got the I had to do a quick risk assessment when I moved into my new flat, and part of a risk assessment when you move into a flat is meant to be that they show you the thing about Legionnaire's disease in taps, and just for some reason,
Is that a Scottish thing?
No, that's an all water taps thing.
There was
I've never heard of that.
in Edinburgh a few years ago, but maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think this landlord is like so by the book.
Okay.
So by the book. Yeah,
No
it's
one's
really
ever said the
refreshing.
words Legionnaire's disease to me in my life. No.
Yeah, it's where you have stagnant water in a tap and it causes a bacteria buildup, and it's called Legionnaire's disease.
It was something. It happened in somewhere in America because there was a Legionnaires conference happening, and some of them died, and it turned out because of the water.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where you're like, that sounds like they mean Legionnaires, like the soldiers.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
So yeah, it was just when but I knew about Legionnaire's disease. Like, it wasn't new information to me, but for some reason getting this risk assessment thing just made my brain go, oh, you're not allowed to not think about that anymore.
Yeah, there's so many wonderful things that I'm like a massive hypochondriac. So COVID was has been very stressful as someone who actively tries to combat their like OCD hypochondria by going like, I'm gonna not thoroughly wash my hands after doing this hygienic thing, not the loo. I always wash my hands after the loo, guys. You know, and then COVID comes along and it's like, actually do all the stuff that everyone told you was excessive. Because now you should worry, and it's like, okay, I was right, but I'm so tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you and I have the same thing going on.
Yeah, I think we might.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still in my parents' new house, the drinking water is the same in all taps. Like, you have a thing where like the upstairs water wasn't drinkable and the downstairs water was. Yeah. So in this house, it's all the same water, but I still don't drink the upstairs water at their house because I'm like, that's the bad water.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Did you see this? Macaroni Prince says Australian comedian Alistair Tremblay Birchall has a story. 2 rats died in his water tank, and the plumber estimated they'd been there about 3 years. So he'd been drinking and bathing in that for a long, nasty time.
Oh my god!
How did he not die though?
I have to ask: is Alistair Tremblay Birchall Alistair Beckett King's Australian persona? Because I just picture
alter ego
with a hat with corks on it.
Wow.
That's horrible. That's really. I mean, you guys know about Elisa Lam, the whole.
No.
Do you know about the Cecil Hotel or the Americans say Cecil Hotel in LA? It
sounds like something I've heard of.
Yeah, it's a Skid Row dodgy hotel. It's kind of notorious for having like links to like lots of like dodgy people have stayed there over time, like serial killers and things. But in the early, there's a Netflix doc in the early 2000s. A girl stayed there from Canada, and she was found dead in the water tank. And there's a whole load of theories, but basically, she was probably just very mentally ill. But she was like the reason they found her was because people started saying the water tastes weird in their rooms. So I know. Yeah, I do love them. Name anyone and name any murder story, and I probably know about.
There's one sort of like that from Ireland of a woman in a hotel, and she ended up in they don't know how she got into the swimming pool, but she was found in the swimming pool. But it's one of those things where they wrote it off as like a suicide, but there's a bit of a conspiracy theory thing going on because there was the one kind of thing that didn't line up was the fact that she couldn't have locked the doors the way they were locked from the inside.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit like, ooh. But
that could also be someone who walked in, saw a dead lady, panicked, ran.
Yeah, there's any sort of.
It looks like
The Macaroni Prince is asking if I know the murder story about the guy who got shot in the scrotum watching Iron Man 2. No. And now I can't remember any of the other information. So that's how that started. No, I've never heard that.
Are you familiar with Robert Picton, the pig farmer?
Yeah. Canadian pig farmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he used to kill sex workers and then feed them to the pigs. And
nice way to get rid of a body.
Here's we all saw Snatch. Here's an addendum you can add onto that, Eleanor. My friend's prom was catered by the Picton Pig Farm.
No. Oh my
Yep.
god. Ah, that is cool. I mean, no, it's not cool. It's deeply horrible.
But also kind of cool.
Whoa. And did your friend remember the sausages tasting different?
Hog roast.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's okay because it's definitely a pig. You can see that it's a pig.
Oh, yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
but it's a pig that has
but what did
eaten.
that pig eat? If you are what you eat, that pig was a dead prostitute.
Yes, and pigs do eat anything.
Everything. Yeah. So when that news came out, she was a bit uncomfortable. Oh, there's a cool guy outside my house. Can you hear him?
That's absolutely fair. I know a lot about Canada's got a dark history for a nation with such a nice reputation. You've got lots of serial killers.
We've got too much woods. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There's too much space.
Yeah.
And so people go a bit not great. And then we have a bunch of serial killers. We got a ton of them.
Can I ask you guys this because I like asking people this, and you're here. Have either of you ever seen a ghost?
Yep.
It's kind of we were kind of on the subject, so I kind of jumped.
Yeah. I don't think I have, but I'm not confident in saying that. Chris, why don't you say your ghost story? Because you were very much like, yep.
Yep. So it goes. It was I was 18. I was staying at like a Y hostel, youth hosteling organization place in Cork. And I'd been there. I'd been staying at another place called Sheila's, which is like an independent one, which is a lot nicer, but it's more expensive, and I couldn't afford it, so I moved over to the cheaper one. And I remember on the first night that I was there, I woke up in the middle of the night. There was someone in the corner of my room. Hadn't her doors open or anything. Found out that I'm not brave. Did not get up to check. Just covers over the head like a toddler.
This will stop them.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I didn't see anything, I swear.
Yeah.
I was alone in the room. There was no one else staying in the room. It was like a 4-bed thing, but it was like October, so there was just nobody around. And so then like I pulled my head out just to be like, hello. No one in the room. Door hadn't opened. Door hadn't closed. No jackets or anything. That's not where the light from the window was. So it wasn't like a tree there. And then I woke up. So I went back to sleep, woke up the next morning, and I was down in the cafeteria. And I was talking to some people because everyone mingles. And they're like, you look weird. You okay? And I was like, yeah, I just had a weird night. And a dude from another table went, you saw a ghost.
Oh.
And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, this place is fucking haunted, dude. We all see ghosts. Don't worry about it. You saw a ghost.
And
that's creepy.
What did you get a picture of the figure, or was it just this is a person? There's a person here.
There's a person right there. I have no memory of what they look like at all. But I remember being like, that's a person in the corner of my room. Ah.
Fuck.
And that was it. Yeah.
That's creepy. That's creepy.
I don't like that at all.
Of the building. I mean, I don't know how you would have done.
Someone told me, but we were all like 18, 19, so you can't really trust the history coming out of their mouths. Yeah. There was something about a battle that happened, but fucking who knows. And by the way, I want everyone to know, I'm not happy that I believe in ghosts. I'm really mad about it.
Yeah, I don't.
I hate it.
I don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but I always believe people's story. Like I always believe that they think that happened to them, and it's always a good story. So I have to say that too, because it's not that I believe. Maybe I want to believe. Maybe that's it.
I actively do not, and yet here I am.
I
no,
feel
actually,
like
it sounds scary.
yeah, I feel like I don't believe, but I don't not believe. You know,
You're open to suggestions.
I'm not like
You're a
they
ghost agnostic.
Yeah, I'm a ghost agnostic. That's exactly it. And the very logical part of my brain definitely goes, nah, there's always some sort of explanation. But I still listened to your story and felt really creeped out.
Yeah, because the stories are fun.
Yeah.
Beardy Noise says, I'm not sure I believe in ghosts, but I know how to perform an exorcism.
Crucial
Beardy Noise, by the way,
skill to have.
started studying witchcraft yesterday.
Who did, sorry?
Beardy.
Oh.
Beardy Noise is who's this comment is
cool.
studying witchcraft as of yesterday. How was your first
Amazing.
lesson?
And can I have the notes, please?
Obviously, lesson 1 is how to perform an exorcism.
Yeah, that's where you start.
First class was tonight, and it ruled. Nice.
That's so cool.
So this
Any
isn't
major takeaways?
This isn't like self-studies. This is like a proper thing.
Yeah, like a course. Yeah.
Of course. So I don't think I saw a ghost, but I don't know. So I was a kid. I want to say, it was shortly after I had started wearing glasses. So I started wearing glasses when I was 10. And so I want to say this happens around about 10, maybe closer to 11. But it was at that stage where I needed glasses to see things far away, but I wasn't yet wearing them all day, every day, the way I do now. And so I didn't wear them when we went out for a walk in the Castle Freak Woods, which are near where I grew up. Freak is actually the name of the people who owned the castle, but it's a great name. So
Made for
castle,
becoming ghosts.
Yeah.
That family was born to be a ghost.
Right? And there's so much history and story behind this castle. It's a really fascinating place. I'm so fortunate to have grown up in a time when it was not actually owned. The Freak family had kind of let it go to public, the basically town ownership or whatever, and it was just run down, abandoned place that you could go for a walk. Basically, it was just this old ruin of a castle. What do you want to say?
Just different turns on "Let Your Freak Flag Fly." Just that. Just a bunch of different versions of it. Just very stupid.
Yeah, it's Freak, F-R-E-K-E as well.
That's a freaky way to spell it.
Yeah.
Respect it.
So that was near where I grew up, and we used to just go for walks up into the castle, and it got a few years ago, it got bought over by the Freak family again, and they've actually done it up and turned it into a home. But yeah, it's everybody had a different ghost story for it. There were so many stories going around about this castle. My favorite one that I always really liked, it's not really that creepy, and I wouldn't even know if you classify it as a ghost story, but basically there was this story that there was a guy who used to, it's so like fairy tale-esque, but that there was a guy who used to sit on the roof of the castle and spin yarn. Yeah, but that one day he was up there spinning yarn and the floor just collapsed out from underneath him, and he fell all the way through the floors and died in the pile of rubble at the bottom. And the reason that I always just found it so intriguing was that there was a wheel on top of the building, and there was a series of holes down through the floors and a pile of rubble at the end. Like, it just, you could see it. And so I always found it really fascinating. But yeah, so there was always loads of ghost stories. So every time you go up there, you'd kind of be in this like ghost story state of mind. And I went up there with friends once, and we were wandering kind of in and around bits of the castle that were darker. And I didn't have my glasses, so I couldn't see very well of anything that was a bit far away from me. But we all, like, and another friend of mine was with me, and we we were in this little hallway place. She ran out screaming, and I didn't know why. And then, like, yeah, it was like we saw this man in a long dark coat, and I came out and she was like, "Did you see the man?" And
what?
There was nobody around. Like, we came out screaming. Our parents kind of went around and had a look and everything, and there was nobody there. It was just one of those really creepy things. But I ended up running out screaming because there was like a rat as well, and I just saw this rat with these bright red eyes, and it freaked the shit out of me. Like, so I don't know what happened there, but there was some sort of movement, and the fact that my friend saw it as well is just like, ooh.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. That had like build up. It has background.
It has a setting. Setting is so important. Yeah. So that's my closest encounter with a ghost.
Eleanor, I want to hear about the ghost that you saw, but I quickly want to
Yeah.
address, I'm assuming you saw one, what Beardy Noise wrote, because just the first sentence, I actually know exorcism before that because I went to university. Full stop. That's the end of that statement.
That sounds a bit scathing. I actually knew exorcism before that because I went to university. I don't know.
We
Will we
all learn
meant
it.
to learn that?
It's a spiritual CPR. It's just first aid.
Unless it's one of the evangelical universities in America. Maybe
I guess they would, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes. No, I wasn't really. I wasn't really offended. It was just
No, not at all. But also, it's a wild thing to say. Like, why do you think that you went to university is enough of an explanation that you know how to do an exorcism?
I guess none of us went to good enough.
You did English lit course. I did English lit as well.
I did English lit too.
Aleister Crowley heavy English lit course? What?
I mean, I guess we learned about religious beliefs when they pertained to certain genres, but I can't remember the 101 for how to do an exorcism.
No, it didn't come up into now. Maybe it's just because I kind of specialized into film, but you know.
You would have watched The Exorcist. That's the perfect opportunity to teach it.
No,
no, I haven't seen The Ghost, and I think it's because I really want to. I had one weird experience in Boston, in 2000 and I want to say 11. I went with my family, but the whole trip got really fucked up by Virgin, so fuck them. They did everything. The flight was delayed. They lost our bags. They screwed us around. We had to stay in this hotel in Windsor for a night, and it was so stressful and horrible. And when we got to Boston, we were staying in because it was part of some kind of special package. We were staying in the Omni Parker, which is this really cool old hotel, which is like classic, what you picture as like an American old-fashioned hotel, and like the Kennedys had stayed there and Dickens had stayed there, and it was really cool. So I was excited, but I was really knackered and I was really fed up, and I just wanted to go to sleep. So we went to bed at like 10 p.m. their time, and I was sharing a room with my brother, and we were both just like in bed trying to get sleep, and not thinking about anything. And then the light goes back on, and I didn't really think about it because I was semi-conscious. I was just annoyed, so I just switched it off again, and then it, dark again, and then the light goes back on, and then I'm like, stop turning the light on because I'm trying to sleep. And he's like, I'm not turning it on. And so I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I switch it off, and then a bit later it comes back on again, and I'm like, what is happening? Why is it was like a lamp doing? I was like, why is this doing this? Is this a fault or something? And eventually I was like, okay, well, I was a bit freaked out, so I was like, you know what, well, let's just leave it on, who cares, like I can't be bothered switching it off every time. So, and as soon as I said that, it switched itself off again. So that was like, that's a perfectly explainable situation, but it was just interesting because I wasn't in a mindset where I was looking for anything, because I was so fed up. So it wasn't like I was like, ooh, this could be a ghost. But yeah, it was just the timing of it was creepy.
Was your brother near the switch? Because that does feel like brother mischief.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not doing it.
No, but you know, sometimes it's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no,
And-
he was way too pissed off by. Oh yeah, so so Virgin lost our bags, and we only found out after they'd lost them that my brother had put all the clothes he owned in this bag. So he didn't have anything.
Oh
so
yeah,
he
so
was-
he's not in a mischievous place
not in a
then.
fun mood. Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's not one of those guys. And then like a couple of days later, we went round the hotel like trying to look for spooky things, but we didn't find anything. But
Yeah.
but it's meant to be haunted, and it was fun. But my mum has a good classic beginning, middle, and end thing that happened to her. If you want to hear it, if you want
Yes,
to
we do.
definitely. Yes. Oh, can you wait
So-
2 seconds? Because I just really have to
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the washroom. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'll be
do
right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
First
Amongst
of all,
ourselves.
washroom is a
Yeah,
charming Canadian.
he has said it before, and I've called him up on it, and it's so daft.
I would preface this with saying that my mum, I don't know, Ashley, if you have a similar background, but my mum was raised Catholic, but is now an
Yeah.
atheist.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so she's like mostly a sensible, normal woman, but then sometimes needlessly
It creeps
superstitious.
in.
Yeah. She's like, if I lose something, she'd be like, you know what always works? Praying to St. Anthony. So yeah, she's the superstitious one. And then my dad is like, he wouldn't believe in a ghost unless the ghost gave him like a PowerPoint presentation about the physics of why it existed. And even then he wouldn't believe in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the background to that. But
Yeah. It sounds like the kind of mischievous thing that my brother would do.
Yeah.
Because like my brother really likes to play pranks.
Yeah.
He loves it. Specifically, he really likes to hide and then jump out and scare you.
Oh, that's fun.
But he's just weirdly good at it.
Yeah.
To the point where like we'd be out for a walk in woods back home near Castle Freak, and we'd be out for a walk. We'd just be wandering along. Sometimes one of us walks ahead a bit or whatever, and there's been times where he's like walked ahead just by a minute and he just disappears, and we're just walking on up and we're like, where the fuck is he gone? And he'll literally jump out of a tree and land in front of us and scare the shit out of us. Like,
now, is he? What's his position? Where is he in the family?
He's the baby. He's the baby of the family, so
Oh,
he's
okay,
younger
that's
than me.
Because my brother's the youngest, and I think he's like too cool for that kind of thing, So
Oh no,
he's like,
he
I'm above
loves it.
that.
He
Yeah.
loves it. He lives for it. He plans it sometimes, like really puts time into it. Nearly every time he lives in Spain at the moment, and nearly every time he's been home to visit my folks, he has come home without telling them, or he's come home a few days earlier, sometimes a couple of months earlier, and just like finds inventive ways to arrive into the house. Like for my dad's 60th birthday, he got me to say that I was at home at the time, and he got me to say I was going out to meet a friend, and I drove to Cork Airport, picked him up, and arrived home really quite soon. Like it's an hour. It probably would have been about 2.5 hours I was gone to pick him up. And that wouldn't be very long for me to be out with a friend, but I just came back into the house. And my brother's like, you have to go in and make them think that you've just arrived home. Like he takes it so seriously. And I'm terrible at keeping a straight face. But I go in and I'm just like, oh yeah, Lucy was kind of tired. So we just like hung out, and I left early. And then he'll sit out in the car for like half an hour. Before
Really
he comes,
dedicated.
really dedicated, and he'll find a way to sneak into the house and scare one of my folks. But that particular time, he got me to put him into the boot of the car, and I had to get Dad to come out and help me bring in the shopping. And he's like opened the car. He made me stop so we could pick up helium balloons, and like so that he would come out with balloons and everything. And I'm just like, you are so extra.
That is also a bit charming though.
Yeah,
It is.
he loves to do it with a little bit of it's effort. It's
Well,
like love and it's quite nice, you know. He always likes to put in an effort to surprise people. And you know, even if he scares the shit out of you, he does it because he loves you in a way. So it's quite people find my brother quite charming and what's the word? He's very calm and charismatic. Yeah, he's very what's the word I'm looking for? I don't remember, but charismatic is definitely one of them as well. He just makes friends everywhere, to the point where like I'm the older sibling and I was in secondary school ahead of him. And then he comes into the school and suddenly it's, oh, you're Liam's sister. I'm like, sorry, what now?
I think you'll find
Yeah.
he is Ashley's brother.
Yeah. But that's not how it went.
And your parents come in, they're Sue's kids. That's who's in charge here. Actually, I told you how my dad reacted when I surprised him, right?
I don't think you did.
So I flew back, Eleanor. And I didn't tell my dad I was coming because he spent the whole pandemic just being like, "Come home now. It's terrible. Come home. Let me protect you." Yeah. And so I was like, he knew I was coming home soonish, but I didn't tell him when. And so my brother picked me up from the airport. We went back to the house, and then I called him from outside to get him to come out because he lives in an apartment building and I couldn't get in. I didn't have a key. He'd moved during pandemic, so I didn't have a key to his new place. And he was like, "Are you outside my house?" And I was like, "No." And then he just came to the window and he leaned down and he went, "Hey."
Oh,
that was it. Then the rest of it was like I was never gonna use it. Hey.
Oh, that's great. That's really nice. I tried
I'll never
to
get
do
my
it.
TikTok tearful greeting.
I tried to do it as well when I was going back because there was one occasion that Liam was actually going to be in Ireland before me. So he might have been able to pick me up from the airport and everything, and then I just didn't get it because I decided to wait until I was fully vaxxed in the end. But yeah, he likes to do all that sort of thing. Eleanor, tell us about your mom.
Ooh,
Go story.
I was just saying to Ashley that my mum is a bit superstitious, but generally a sensible woman, but a bit superstitious. But she grew up in Weymouth on the south coast of England, which is like a super old seaport town. Also, the first place in Britain where the Black Death arrived. So,
ooh, that makes sense for a port. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Goddamn sailors. Disgusting. Great sense in hats, though.
Yeah. Even in bloody lockdown, my brother was able to travel anywhere because he had a port license. And I'm just like, fucking sailors.
Wow. I've seen on the town. What's it? The Gene Kelly one. What's the one? New York with the. Anywho, I haven't seen that. So that's why I sound a bit like this, because my parents were brought up in England, but their families are Scottish. It's very annoying for me. But she was this is like the 70s or 80s, so she's like 18, 19, and she moves out of home and she moves into this old building called the Tudor House because it is a house dating to the Tudor times. So it's like 500 years old. And it's a museum now. You can go visit it, but at the time they thought it was more lucrative to rent it to like students and stuff. But she said it had all the furniture, like all the old furniture in it, and obviously she didn't have a TV or anything. So she's kind of living in this like very old house with all its stuff, and it's kind of must have been weird. But she was in the Tudor house one night, and she doesn't have a TV, so she's just reading. It's quiet, and her flatmate was a chef, so she was working. It was the evening, and she hears this noise, and she described it a bit like a kind of like rustling, like maybe a bit like a crisp packet, but a bit softer. And she ignores it, and then she hears it again. She ignores it, and then she thinks, "Okay, well, I hope it's not rats." So she goes. She sounds like it's coming from upstairs. So she goes upstairs. She looks around. She can't see anything. She goes back downstairs. She hears it again. She's thinking, "This is weird. I've never heard this noise before. I can't identify it. I don't know what's happening." And she's getting a bit more uneasy. And then she says the noise started getting louder, as if it was coming down the stairs. She said it was like the noise was on the stairs. And at that point, she's like, "No, I'm done." And she goes up and she leaves, and she goes outside, and she just waits for her friend to come home. Yeah, she's like, "No,
no."
I've seen horror films. And her friend is due back in like 10 minutes. So it's fine. So they go back in and they look around, and there's nothing in there. She said after that, though, she never stayed there by herself. And then she moves out, and she's somewhere else. It's a few years later, and she's talking to a friend of her brother who is a historical architect. He's like an architect who's really interested in history. And he was like, "Oh my God, I heard that you lived in the Tudor house. That's such a cool place to live." And she says, "Oh yeah." And then he says, "Did you ever see any of the ghosts?" And she was like, "Ghosts?" And he was like, "Yeah, there's meant to be 3 ghosts. There's meant to be a poltergeist, an old sea captain,
The sheer timing.
and 2 Georgian ladies who haunt the stairs, and you're meant to hear the rustling of their big
No
dresses."
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff.
Narratively, it's good, isn't it?
Narratively, it is
So
tight. It is airtight.
there you go. That's what she said happened.
I love that.
It is. Yeah, no, you're right. It's 4 ghosts, but I guess it's 3 groups of ghosts.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
4 for the price of 3.
Yeah.
And as we're doing that, this guy is an archaeologist, the one who just followed us. As you're doing that,
it's Paul.
it's Paul. Yeah. What's up, Paul? Twitch, as we miss you too.
I expected him to verbally.
Yeah. You do sometimes, though, right? You talk to someone on here. You go,
Yeah, I do that with Paul Foxcroft all the time. He's the only one that I'm like, he's not responding. But then I'm like, no, obviously he's not.
I have it when I'm in people's chats after we raid, or if like I'm watching them and I start chatting and I expect I'll say something out loud and forget that they can't hear me.
Yeah.
I'll just alone in my house. Nice shot. Oh, sorry. Nice shot.
We're all insane.
Paul has 5 ghosts.
5 ghosts. He's a classic one-upper.
Yeah. Well done, Paul. Yeah.
Walk us through your ghost.
I'm surprised Paul isn't haunted, because he's always digging around in people's skulls, and Paul was involved in the Crossrail archaeological dig.
He was.
So yeah,
he was protested.
Yes, because he was digging up some dead people from the. I'm going to get this wrong. I think they were maybe plague victims, or they were maybe from Bedlam Hospital, or maybe both, or maybe neither.
But there were so many dead people.
It was dead people. They were dead for a creepy reason, and then people were upset. But you have. It's better. I don't know. I mean, London is like just a massive graveyard. So
yeah. You dig anywhere. Dig
anywhere. There's going to be either a skeleton or an unexploded bomb.
Yeah.
It was. I remember I saw a play that was done by the anti-Crossrail people, and it was about not
Oh,
desecrating. Sorry?
Was that at Camden People's Theatre?
It was.
I had a friend who worked there at the time.
What did they think of it? Because it freed me from being afraid of Brian Logan's reviews because he wrote it and it was hot garbage. Hot garbage.
It was Brian Logan. That was it. Yes. No. All I remember is that being a funny idea that my friend thought was amusing. That was a thing.
It was nuts.
Got threatened with a curse. That's so
cool.
good.
That was yeah.
who?
So what Brian did, I hope Paul doesn't mind me saying this. Well, actually, Paul, do you mind me telling the background of the play and why I went? Because it was Paul related.
I'm remembering this now, yeah.
But Paul, let me know if you don't want me to. I'll wait until you answer. But it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. The story was nonsense. It didn't make any sense at all. They couldn't decide if it was a ghost or the imagination, and not in like a fun Calvin and Hobbes way, where either way is fine. Go for it. Okay. So Paul and I were out drinking because Paul's an old friend of mine, and he said, so here's something that's happening. They're doing a play about the dig. The protesters are doing it, and they're using my picture, my real name, and a picture of my signature in a slideshow in the play. And so I want to go see it just to see what it is. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, fuck yeah, I definitely want to come. And in my mind, part of me thought that it was going to be like they'd see his picture and they'd recognize him in the crowd and they'd be like, get him. And I'd be like defending my friend Paul. And but it ended up just being the worst play I've ever seen in my life, including high school plays. But it was so it was like a terrible play where like a person was interacting with someone who was supposed to be like ghosts that were dug up on the site, whatever. And but then at the end, the actors brought out real like protesters and people that were active in the community trying to stop this from happening. And then they washed their hands and feet like they're Jesus. And then they all sang a song together. And I was crawling out of my skin. It was insane.
Were you trying not to laugh, or were you?
I think I was openly laughing. I think
Yeah.
I don't remember. I was dying. Like it was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And it was clear that, to me, Brian was sleeping with one of the cast members. And they were doing a bad job of hiding it. And I got the impression that she was married. It was the whole thing was bad. It was
great.
And what
Absolutely.
about was the picture of Paul? Was it a good picture?
I think it was him in his chainmail for his castle show. Because what happened was Brian had come onto the site to ask questions about it, which everyone was allowed to do. Everyone was just like, "Oh, they're keeping it secret. They won't tell us." And Crossover was just like, "We literally have. It's a just come on down. You have to
standard practice for these things."
Yeah, you have to tell us you're coming. You can't just show up because like we need to have a helmet for you, and we need to make sure that there's someone that can escort you around. And so he asked if he could come, and they're like, "Yeah, sure." And so Paul showed him around. Paul happened to be the one that showed him around. I don't think he knew Paul was a comedian necessarily at the time, and Paul walked him through all the things, and he seemed very reasonable. And then he wrote a play, shit talking my buddy Paul.
I'm really confused that I mean, I could be wrong here, but if Brian's issue here was that you shouldn't dig up where dead people are, then I've got bad news for him about literally every other dig site and building site in London.
They all dig up bodies.
Most of the UK, yeah.
Every Edinburgh venue is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's the Greyfriars is notorious because they've packed way more bodies into it than they should have done over the years. And so when it rains, sometimes some of the bones stick up. And I was telling my sister and her friend this, or maybe I was doing it in a show and they were at the show in Edinburgh. But anyway, and then like 2 hours later, I got a picture from my sister, and she was like, "We went to see if you were right, and we found a jawbone." They just went to Greyfriars because it had been raining, and there it was. They handed it in. They handed it in to the guy. But yeah,
It's the same with the caves, right? The caves
Yeah.
were all plague victims and scarlet fever and everything.
It's a bit overblown. A lot of it was storage, but yeah, there was a lot of like poor people who lived especially underground and in gruesome ways. Were
I think that thing
Paul
of them. Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry. You know Paul from the stream.
Yes.
Eleanor, you know Paul Byrne? He was teching. Oh, it's a comedy director. Done a lot of shows. But he used to tech a show called Full Mooners down there. A drop of water went into his eye from the roof, and he was the first documented case of scarlet fever in about 115 years in Edinburgh.
That's my city.
Yeah, that's the caves, baby.
It's disgusting.
And they still put fringe shows in there.
Oh hell yeah! Just don't look
constantly.
up.
Yeah.
Just don't get the drips in your eyes.
Never look up.
It's unhygienic enough being around all the kind of the bands, comedians who like hang around Bannerman's and stuff, all those locations. They're already full of germs, not to mention the historical germs. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
Scarlet fever.
Yeah. Retro.
Very retro. Even the doctor, like it was that kind of thing where it was like they're looking in their normal books and looking on computers, and then he like basically pulled out like a dusty tome and dropped it, and there's dust everywhere. It's like,
I can't. Oh my god!
It's a disgusting city,
It's
but
pretty gross.
lovely.
Beautiful.
Oh, I mean, like
I call beautiful things that's dead on the inside.
Yes. So the meadows. The reason the meadows is a big kind of flat expanse is because that was a plague pit because it was out with the city walls at the time, and then Princess Street Gardens. We did a project on this in primary school. Princess Street Gardens was originally a loch,
and you
called the
thought it
Norloch.
would never come in handy.
Oh no, I tell everyone about this all the time. It was a loch, and it was the drinking water, and it was also the sewage, and it was also where they would dunk witches and throw dead people. So,
God. Yeah. Oh dear. I love your Craig the tour guide sketch.
Yeah, very
They're
funny.
So good.
One of the early ones was like an Edinburgh ghost tour guide, and it's partially based off my sister's friend who used to be one of the tour guides there, and she was very like, you get bored of this stuff after a while, and just the kind of nightmare of living in the middle of a very touristy hub where everyone wants fun and excitement, and you're like,
before the pandemic, I was kind of trying out new things. I was unemployed for 2 months before the pandemic, and so I was looking into doing tour guiding, but what I was going to do was try and design my own tour and put it on Airbnb experiences.
Oh, cool.
Because I have my undergrad degree was in English lit, but Celtic history as well. And so I was going to try and do this ancient Scots
tour.
You
at Glasgow?
No, my undergrad was in Cork. I'm at Glasgow Uni now doing my master's.
Because I did Scottish literature there, so I was wondering if it was the same people, but no. Anyway, sorry.
No. Cool. But yeah, so I was going to do this like ancient Scots tour of Edinburgh, and I thought, like, in theory, I was like, this is a good idea, but then the further back you go, the less landmarks you have. And so I basically, because, you go back, I was trying to go back before the castle was there, basically. And yeah, you've got Castle Rock, which was a Celtic settlement before it had a castle on it. And then I think Arthur's Seat was something as well. But then it was just like, I don't know where else to bring a tour for this. I had one other stop that was to do with there's a wee church very near the castle called St. Columba's, and I was going to use that to talk about how Columba basically Christianized Scotland.
You did.
But after that, I was just like, yeah, that's kind of it for landmarks.
It's a lot of using your imagination.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where I started setting up the Airbnb account or the Airbnb page for it, and then I got an email from Airbnb like, we really want to promote this. Like, this sounds really good and everything. And I'm just like, I haven't actually written it. It's not actually, it doesn't exist yet. I'm still just working on it. I was just kind of making the thing to see if I could actually do that. If it was worthwhile actually writing the thing first. So
Well, I would go on that if you ever do.
I doubt I'm going to do anything like that now, but
Well, in that case, I'll steal the idea.
Well, go ahead. Yeah,
No, I really won't. I won't. I'm not. I'm too lazy to plagiarize that.
Yeah, I think maybe something a bit more interesting, but I don't have. It wouldn't have been what I studied. But I thought about this for a podcast idea, was just history of witches and stuff.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
God! We should just have a 2-hour chat about this.
We should. I had this one idea for a podcast that was each episode you would take 2 witches, one real,
yeah,
and one fiction, and look at like somebody in popular culture, like fucking Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes,
let's say.
that's fun.
So that was one idea I had.
I like this.
Last year. I had like so many podcast ideas, and then ended up doing this.
Yeah, where all of them happen in tiny
where
little
all
segments.
of them happen. That's great.
We just hit 2 hours.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, that flew by.
Flew in.
That's amazing.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so
Thanks
much for
coming on, Eleanor. Is there anything that you want to plug?
Now.
Yeah.
Yes. Tomorrow, if anyone's in London tomorrow, I'm doing a work in progress show at 2 North Down in King's Cross. So please come to that. It might not be funny, but all around the mysterious, we have plans for potential new episodes recording over Christmas. But yeah, tomorrow I'm doing the work in progress. So please come to that. And otherwise, I'm on Twitter, and that's sadly where you'll find most of my stuff.
And
it's good stuff, though. It's good stuff, though.
Thanks, guys.
It's a light at the end of a long, dark Twitter tunnel. So
you can also find it on other platforms too, if you like me think that Twitter is the worst. So yeah, it's in other places.
Yeah, and also
David.
we have a link.
Buddy.
Oh, thank you for the sub, David. There's a link in the chat there to your coffee page. If you've enjoyed Eleanor's appearance on the show, go and buy her a coffee.
If you want to support.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the podcast is All Rather Mysterious, right?
Oh,
yes, that's the one I do with David Reed of the Penny Dreadfuls and John Rain of really liking James Bond.
Ooh.
Okay. And what's it about? What's the idea?
It's just mysteries that it's unexplained things. We sort of have a fun time thinking what might have happened. And
I follow you on Twitter and everything, and I see all your sketches, and I didn't know you had this podcast. And
well, to be fair, we're very sporadic because those two have children, and children apparently take up a lot of your time. So it's a bit random when we record, but yeah, you can find the back catalogue, and we're going to do some more soon, and I'll put that on Twitter when we do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ashley, anything you want to plug?
Buy me a coffee. I lost a lot of money in the past week. The pickpocketing was only the beginning. I want to say I lost to the universe about €600 in the past week. So buy me a coffee. Just I'm not normally I spent 2 hours today trying to figure out how to sell my underwear online, so that's where I'm at.
You're doing it.
Oh no.
You know what? I tried to do it, and they fucking charge you. All the sites charge you to set it up. So I'm just like, now I'm investigating how to do it through fucking Reddit. That's literally where I'm at right now. So
Goddamn, that
fucking
sucks.
buy me a coffee.
Someone buy her a coffee. Take care of our Ashley. I can't. I'm too poor.
Oh, David Hoare might be onto something. Maybe that's a market that people haven't explored enough. eBay, I'm told. Oh, fucking Beardy Noise would know.
That's a fact. Beardy Noise would know.
I might be sending you a message.
You could offer paid for exorcisms.
Yes, I could do that. Also, I am supporting wonderful co-host of the stream that's not here tonight, John Hastings, on the 28th of November in Monkey Barrel Comedy Club in Edinburgh. Go and get tickets to that. If you are not in our Discord, please join that, because I believe, I forget who it is, but somebody dropped in earlier that they have tickets that they can no longer use. So there's 2 tickets up for grabs in the Discord as well. So join the Discord, come see our show. You get 2 of the hosts in one show.
Yeah.
And in a disgusting Edinburgh venue as previously.
Exactly.
Well, no, the Monkey Barrel is very clean, but it's
oh, you haven't seen the storerooms.
I bet under that basement it gets nasty.
They've stopped allowing the acts to stand in that little bit in this is in the new venue in Monkey Barrel 3. They've stopped allowing us to stand in the little bit behind the sound desk because it's just like people shouldn't be in there.
Humidity.
Yeah.
Oh, Beardy Noise has a good idea. ASMR Irish woman tells you you're awful. That's there's a market for that. You fucking piece of shit. You're garbage. No one likes you.
Do you know what? I wonder if
Every
that
decision you
actually
make is
would
wrong.
be a thing, because a few people in the past week have told me that they really like the way I speak, that I use big words and stuff, and I feel like I could eloquently and in an Irish accent insult people. Because I called somebody obstinate, and then somebody was like, "I've never heard that word used in real life before," and I was like, "He's an obstinate fuckhead," and they were just like, "That sounds so great." Oh, maybe I'll think about that one, Beardy Noise. Thank you for the suggestion.
There's options.
Chris, what are your plugs?
I don't know. I got my podcasts, but if you're watching this, you know about them. That's it. If you're in Victoria, come see me do shows. Otherwise, send Ashley money and go see Eleanor tomorrow.
Do that. Okay. Who are we going to raid?
We got Fox Comedy, Sean Morley, My Gun is Huge, and Ruffled Bricks.
I'm happy with any of those. You do it.
Let's do Sean. We haven't rated Sean in a while.
Cool.
All right. We are rating Sean Morley. Thank you so much for coming on, Eleanor. We're going to put on our outro music. Feel free to watch. It is
I will.
Disconcerting.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
And that's all. Penis into her vagina. And that's all. And that's called sexual intercourse. Some people call it having sex. So the man passes the sperm to the woman, and now his sperm is in her. Maybe you're wondering if a mistake could be made when...
All right. And broadcast.